And Young Buzz, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that feels refreshing, unexpected, and honestly a little heartwarming for fans who've been rooting for a comeback moment. 50/50 is stepping into a new lane, and this time it's not with a comeback announcement or a new album, but with a special collaboration for a Naver webtoon. And whether you've been following their journey closely or just casually tuning in, this is one of those updates that makes you stop and think, oh, they're really rebuilding, they're really moving forward, and they're doing it in a way that fits their strengths. So let's talk about it. 50/50 has participated in the OST of a Naver webtoon called Operation Name Pure Love. The song is titled Oops My Bad, and it drops on the 2nd at 6 p.m. Now, I know OST news doesn't always feel as huge as a full comeback, but trust me, this one matters. Not just because of the song, but because of what it represents. OSTs are often a strategic move, a way for artists to reconnect with the public, test new sounds, and remind listeners of what they're capable of. And in 50/50's case, this feels like a quiet but confident step back into the spotlight. Operation Name Pure Love is a popular Naver series that's been running since 2022. And if you've ever read a webtoon with a twisty emotional hook, you know how easily people get attached. The story has a very unique concept. The amount of love you receive in your lifetime is predetermined. Can you imagine? The idea that love is measured, counted, and finite. It already sets the tone for something dramatic, something tender, something relatable, but also a little bit painful. And the OST lineup reflects that emotional depth. 50/50 isn't doing this alone. The webtoon has also collaborated with Fromis9, Park Bom, Izuna, and more. That's a pretty interesting mix of artists, each with their own color and vocal personality. And Oops My Bad is described as a highly addictive synth-pop track about falling in love with someone and hoping they like you back. Honestly, that alone makes me curious. Synth-pop is one of those genres that can go in two directions, dreamy and soft, or fun and slightly chaotic. But with 50/50's signature smooth vocals, I'm expecting something airy, clean, and comforting. They've always had this refined tone that makes even the simplest melody feel polished. But what makes this release even more interesting is how it ties into their recent musical direction. They reversed the trend with their title track Pookie in the third mini-album, and I think we all remember how buzzworthy that was. At a time when the industry was saturated with trends leaning one way, they went the opposite direction. And then they experimented even more with their digital single Skittlez, where they attempted their first hip-hop track. That one surprised a lot of people. Even if it wasn't everyone's favorite, it showed something important. They're not afraid to try. They're not afraid to experiment. They're not afraid to explore who they can become. So hearing that they're doing a synth-pop OST again feels like a return to something that fits them naturally, while still connecting to the emotional world of the webtoon. And that brings me to something I really want to ask you. Do you think OST releases are a good pathway for groups like 50/50 to re-establish themselves? Because personally, I think it's a smart move. OSTs come with built-in audiences. People who already love the story want the music to enhance their emotional experience. And when an idol group delivers that emotional punch, listeners start checking out the artists behind the voice. It's a gentle way of rebuilding public trust and interest. And I'm curious if you feel the same way. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did 50/50 choosing to release an OST feel like a strategic step to you? Or are you hoping for a major comeback instead? Let's talk a bit more about the song itself. Oops My Bad is supposed to capture that moment when you fall for someone and you're silently hoping the feeling is mutual. And tell me if this is just me, but that theme feels so 50/50 coded. They've always had that soft, sweet, slightly shy tone in their tracks. Not overly dramatic, not overly powerful, but emotional in this clean, modern way. Something you'd hear in a coming-of-age romance series. Something that a character listens to while staring at their phone waiting for a text. Something gentle but catchy enough to replay 10 times without realizing. And the fact that they plan to connect the song directly to the emotions of the webtoon's characters is a good sign. Strong OSTs always feel like they belong inside the story, not just on a playlist. And 50/50 seems to be approaching it with intention, with care, with that sense of subtle storytelling that makes OSTs memorable. Now, I want to dive into the bigger picture because I think this is where it gets really interesting. We all know 50/50's journey has been complicated. There have been highs, sudden virality, challenges, shifts, and a lot of eyes on them. So when I see news of an OST collaboration with a major webtoon, it feels like a sign that they're still moving, still growing, and still being recognized by the industry. And honestly, I think that matters. People often underestimate how impactful an OST can be on an artist's long-term image. Think about how many groups regained popularity after delivering a perfect OST. Think about how a simple ballad or dreamy pop track suddenly reintroduces an artist to the general public. OSTs are a bridge, a chance to show the vocals without the pressure of choreography or heavy promotions, a chance to connect emotionally rather than competitively. And I want to ask you this too. Do you think OST exposure might be the best way for 50/50 to regain public warmth and support? Because I feel like a lot of people are ready to hear them again, but maybe in a softer, more story-driven context first. Not a high-pressure comeback with huge expectations. Something like this feels natural, organic, meaningful. Let's also appreciate how interesting the timing is. They just explored new genres with Pookie and Skittlez. One more experimental and unpredictable, one stepping into hip-hop for the first time, and now we get a smooth synth-pop OST. That's 3 very different energies in a row. And I think this variety is going to play a big role in defining their identity moving forward, especially if they continue blending soft vocal synergy with more adventurous styling. Do you think they should lean more into this cozy, emotional style? Or do you prefer when they experiment with bolder genres like hip-hop? I'm genuinely curious what the fandom opinion is right now. Now, another important question. Will this OST gain traction? I think it depends on the Webtoon's fans and how well the song connects to the story. Operation Name, Pure Love already has a strong reader base. The theme, the world building, the emotional baggage, all of that makes it perfect for an OST. And if the song becomes associated with a memorable character moment or a romantic turning point in the story, then yes, it's absolutely going to gain traction. And if it does, that's only going to help 50/50's visibility. One OST can change everything, especially when the vibe matches their core strengths. But here's the real question I want to throw at you. Do you think this OST could mark the beginning of a new phase for 50/50? Something calmer, something more narrative-focused, something more emotional? Or do you think it's simply a standalone project and their next comeback will be loud and experimental again? Share your predictions in the comments. I want to hear your theories. I want to know if you think 50/50 is reinventing themselves or just branching out temporarily. And here's another angle. The OST lineup includes From Is 9, Park Bom, and Izuna. That's a pretty diverse group of vocalists. From a Score 9 brings that youthful, polished pop vocal. Park Bom carries decades of emotional ballad power. Izuna adds a different modern color. With 50/50 in the mix, it's almost like the Webtoon creators curated a vocal palette, a color wheel of emotions. And I think that's the kind of collaboration that people will talk about. It also says something about how 50/50 is viewed in the industry. They're no small name. They're invited alongside respected artists. That means something. That shows trust in their musical abilities. And honestly, I think this OST is going to be a reminder that despite everything, their vocals are still clean, soothing, and recognizable. A reminder that they have a place in storytelling music. A reminder that they can still connect. Now let's bring it back to you, the viewers. Are you planning to check out Oops My Bad when it drops? Do you read the webtoon Operation Name Pure Love? And if you do, which character do you think this song will fit best with? Also, do you think synth-pop is the perfect match for this story? Or would you have preferred a more acoustic or ballad-like OST from 50/50? Let's talk about it. This is one of those stories where your opinions can really shape the conversation because everyone sees OSTs differently. Some people only care about comebacks. Some people love OST versions of their favorite artists more than title tracks. Some people think OSTs reveal the real vocal color of an idol group. So I want to hear your take. To wrap everything up, 50/50 releasing the OEP's My Bad for a major Naver webtoon feels like a new spark. It's not flashy, it's not explosive, but it's sincere. It's artistic, it's thoughtful, it's a gentle comeback into public awareness. And sometimes those are the most effective. A smooth, addictive synth-pop track paired with the emotional universe of Operation Name, Pure Love could easily be the start of a slow but steady rise. So let's see what happens, let's see how people respond, and let's keep the conversation going. This is Anyang Buzz, and I'll see you in the next video.